Hello once again, guys. Welcome back to Stock Radar. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And this week we're going to be talking about Waste Management stock. That is the stock that you guys voted on over in the private Facebook group. It is a fine company. It's actually a stock that I've been keeping an eye on since April of 2017. That's the first time I actually officially mentioned this stock on my YouTube channel. And I had done a video called My Top 5 Stocks for Beginners. And at the very top of my list there was Waste Management stock, and this stock actually performed exceptionally well in 2017. They are still having excellent performance of that share price, and I still see this as a great investment for beginners. But let's go ahead and get into more of the details and talk about why I particularly like Waste Management stock. So first of all, let's go ahead and cover some of the basics. The symbol is WM on the New York Stock Exchange. They have a price to earnings ratio of 13.5. And at this current point in time, where the markets are now, seeing a stock with a PE ratio this low is not very common. I mean, we're seeing PEs in the 30 to 40 range for some of these technology stocks. And so when you're looking at a stock that is at a lower PE ratio than the overall market, that is definitely a plus, especially when we are at the tail end of a bull market or late stages of a bull market here. They do pay a dividend yield of 2.3%. They have a 20-year history of paying dividends and a 14-year growth streak. So they do have a very decent growth streak as far as their consistency of rising that dividend. And this is a company where you would expect that dividend to be very safe because it's very consistent operations here with the waste management services they offer. But that'll make more sense a little bit more when we go forward here and talk about what this business actually is. They have a market capitalization of $35 billion. They're considered to be a growth and income stock, and this company is 50 years old. So let's go ahead and get more of a background on Waste Management and what this company is actually doing and what is this company about. So Waste Management provides waste management services to residential, commercial, industrial, and municipal customers. I do have a typo there for municipal. It's not municipla. Sorry about that. But anyway, municipal customers in North America. So that is one thing. They only have customers in North America, so this is not a company that's going to be giving you international exposure by any means. They're going to be giving you domestic exposure to the domestic markets, and particularly it's going to be in the trash collection and processing of trash, recyclables, and other hazardous materials. They provide trash collection and transportation services. They provide recyclable collection and transportation services as well, so for both trash and recyclables. They own and operate material recovery facilities for their recyclables, so they're actually recovering, materials. They'll also go through the trash, I believe, and look for metals or materials that have value. They operate disposal sites and landfill gas-to-energy facilities where they're actually deriving gas from the landfills. Now, as of December 31st of 2017, they have 244 solid waste landfills, 5 hazardous waste landfills, 90 material recovery facilities, and 305 transfer stations. So we understand now that Waste Management is involved in the trash removal, the trash pickup, the landfill business, and also in recyclables, but Waste Management also has a couple of other businesses that are worth mentioning, and they all fit under this umbrella of the services that Waste Management is providing, so it makes a lot of sense to me why they are offering these services. First of all, they offer portable self-storage. This comes right along with, ordering a dumpster. Maybe you're cleaning out your house and you're going to throw some stuff away and you're going to store the rest of it. And so portable self-storage is a very logical service they are offering. They also offer long-distance moving, which ties in with the portable self-storage. They have the lamp tracker recycling. This is for bulbs and electronics. They offer both mail-in packages, as you can see on the bottom right, and they also will pick up, if you have more than 1,000 used lamps, they'll come pick that up for you. But that is for light bulb and electronic recycling. It's a specific program they have. They also offer portable restroom services, street and parking lot sweeping, and also consulting services for other waste companies out there, because they are one of the greatest waste management companies out there in terms of their logistics and their technology and their operations. So other smaller trash companies will reach out to them and pay them for consulting services. That's something else they are doing. Now, waste management operates under three segments. Number one is the collection. That is the largest, which is 55% of their revenue. That you can see on the bottom left there. That's the waste management trucks that go around and pick up the trash and recyclables. In the middle there, the second segment is their landfills. That's 19% of revenue comes from the landfills, and that is pretty much what you're looking at right there, the piles of trash that they operate, and they also, again, like we said, derive gas from the landfills. And then third of all, they have the transfer, recycling, and other, and that's all those other businesses we talked about just a second ago there. That falls under that segment, and that accounts for 26% of their revenue. And that is one of the things that I like about waste management in particular, is they know exactly what they're doing, and they're not doing much else. All of the other businesses they are operating make sense to me as far as why they would be involved in, portable storages and moving services and street sweeping. It all makes sense because of this company and what they're currently doing. And so I like the fact that they know what they're good at, they know what they should be doing, and they're not doing anything else that could be a waste of resources or a waste of money. It's a very efficient business for them, and they do a damn good job at what it is that they do. So that's a background there on waste management. Now let's go ahead and talk about the pros of investing in this company. First of all, they are a world-class logistics company. As we said earlier on, they have consulting services, so other trash removal services out there will pay waste management for consultations. They have sophisticated trucks, they have routes, and they have an entire network for collection. And on the bottom left there, that is an actual software that I believe they sell or they have a subscription to. It's called Waste Management Logistics. And in case you thought this was just as simple as them sending out trucks and grabbing trash, it is absolutely not. Every single one of these trucks has a massive amount of computerized equipment that shares their location, and it tracks their routes. And so it's a very data-oriented company. And on the bottom left there, that is the actual software they're using, Waste Management Logistics, to actually plan out and map out those collection routes. And so it's a very sophisticated company. They're a master at logistics, and that again is another reason why I like this stock, is because this company is very good at what they do, and they're operating as efficiently as possible. And if they aren't, they're going to figure out how to operate more efficiently by using software like Waste Management Logistics. And the other thing is they're actually a very innovative company as well. They were one of the first recyclable companies out there to offer the single stream recycling, where traditionally you would have to separate your cans from your paper products and all the different materials, your glass as well. And they were able to have a sorting facility that would separate all these materials out, such that you could put all of your recyclables in one bin and have single stream recycling. They were one of the first to do this. And they also produce natural gas from their landfill, and a lot of that natural gas is used to run their fleet of trucks that all run on natural gas. I'm actually not sure if they all run on natural gas or if it's a large majority, but they've set goals as far as how much of their fleet they want to run on natural gas. And that's pretty impressive when they are putting this trash in the landfills, generating natural gas from that, and then powering their trucks with the trash they're collecting. So that's just one example of how innovative this company is. Moving on now, another pro for investing in the stock is that this is a very simple and easy to understand business. A lot of people end up investing in companies and they have no idea what this company is doing, what they are about, or even why they're investing in that stock in the first place. And you could easily answer all these questions looking at waste management. It's a very simple, easy to understand business. People produce trash, whether it's residential customers, commercial, or large-scale industrial or municipal customers. People and businesses produce trash. Some businesses produce hazardous materials where we need special care in transporting and storing those materials. And so people generate trash. It needs to go somewhere in a safe manner, and that is the business of waste management. It's very easy to understand, and I love these simple businesses, especially for beginners. The other thing I like about waste management is that this is a defensive industry with consistent spending. You're not going to find out that all of a sudden there was a massive growth in the residential trash service market. It's very consistent. And it's also a subscription-based service. And what I like about that is You're paying for your trash service and your recycling pickup, whether or not you're filling the bin all the way, or maybe you're on vacation and you're not even using it, you're paying for it no matter what. And so I love these subscription-based businesses, especially for companies that pay a dividend. For example, look at AT&T. They know exactly how much money they're going to be making relatively every single month because they have a certain number of subscribers to either their DirecTV platform or their wireless plans. And so it's very similar to Waste Management here. They know how many residential, commercial, industrial, municipal customers they have. They're all paying a monthly fee for trash service, and they have a good idea of how much money they're going to make. And here was one example here of a 96-gallon container. So that's going to cost you $17.92 per month. And then if you also want an 18-gallon bin for recycling, $5.25. And so this particular Waste Management customer is going to be paying about $25 a month for the waste collection and recyclable collection services. Another pro I have for Waste Management is the fact that when we have more people, we're going to generate more trash. And when there are more people out there that are starting businesses or businesses are growing, they're going to produce more trash. And so they have a very safe growth component here with their business. And that is the fact that as the population increases in size in North America, there's going to be more people that are generating trash. And this was a couple of statistics here, or the growth rate of the North American population. It's growing at a rate of about, somewhere around 1% per year, maybe a little bit less. And so they have a steady growth here in the population in North America, and all of those people are going to be producing trash, and a large amount of that is going to be sorted and collected by Waste Management and then stored in one of their landfills. So that is an area where this company is going to see growth, is the fact that there's going to be more people needing trash service pickup as the population increases. But that's actually one of the things we're going to talk about later on. One of the cons for this stock is that there aren't a lot of growth drivers for a company like Waste Management because it's a utility. It's a public service they're offering. And you're not going to all of a sudden hear about the trash market exploding and growing like crazy, because it's very consistent, the amount of trash we're producing and the revenue they're generating from this business. So moving on here, let's go ahead and talk about the cons of investing in this stock. I only have two. First of all, it's the fact that there are price fluctuations with recycled materials. That is one of the ways that Waste Management is making money, is through the recycled materials. They're going to take the aluminum and the materials that you're putting in there in your trash collection. They're going to sort it out. They're going to put it into big blocks, and they're going to be selling it and making money. And while that is a good way for them to make money, you're going to see fluctuating prices with those metals. And on the bottom there, this is the price for copper over the last couple of years. And as you can see, it has fluctuated from $3.40 a pound to as low as under $2 a pound. And so you're naturally going to see price fluctuations with metals. And that might be a con there, because if you're going to see, recycled metals and recycled materials decrease significantly in price, you're going to see the revenue start to shrink for Waste Management from that area of the business as far as their recovery of these metals. And then the other thing is, because of the fact that they can only rely on population growth here to grow their business, the only other way they can grow is through acquisitions. And so their growth strategy is to go out there and acquire smaller trash service and recycling companies. And while they've done a very good job at this in the past, going forward, you're going to want to make sure they are making good investments and using that money wisely. And one of the things we will notice about Waste Management in particular is that the debt load this company has is a bit higher than what we're used to, and that comes from that growth strategy of having to acquire other companies in order to grow. Moving on now, let's go ahead and talk about the barriers to entry for Waste Management. First of all, you have to talk about the fleet. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of trucks on the road. All of those trucks cost a massive amount of money. And so if you wanted to start a trash collection business or company, you would have to invest millions of dollars in a fleet of trucks to be collecting, as well as the collection bins themselves. They have to pay for these. And so there's a massive amount of money that's invested in the actual fleet and the trash collection bins and all of that. So it'd be very expensive to get started in the trash collection business. Number two, they already have all these landfills out there. And if you're going to start a trash collection company, you're going to have to convince cities and municipalities to allow you to open up a new landfill where you can distribute your trash. And who's going to say yes to that? Who's going to want a landfill in their backyard? And so the fact that they're already operating and have a massive amount of landfills is a significant barrier to entry, because their competition would have to find other landfill sites, and good luck with that. Nobody wants landfills. Number 3, Waste Management is really a technology company, and they are a master of logistics. So you'd be competing with a company that has a very sophisticated back-end system, especially with the logistics. Number 4, there's a massive amount of government regulation involved with trash collection and transportation of hazardous materials, and so that right there is a barrier to entry as well. And 5th and finally, Waste Management is a trusted name. I know that people who are customers of this service are usually customers for life, and even if a new trash service company came around, if they had no track record, you might not be very trusting of that company, and you're probably just going to stick to what you know and what company has served you well in the past. Okay, so that covers the About section, the pros and cons, and the barriers to entry. And now let's go ahead and look at the financial documents. And first of all, we're going to look at the balance sheet and look at the assets. So total assets have been steady over the last 4 years, and we saw total assets grew 4.7% from 2016 to 2017. Now do notice though that Waste Management burned through the cash pile between 2014 and 2015. It was around 1.3 billion in 2014, and then it went down to 39 million, and it's actually decreased every year since then. And I would say this must have been something to do with a cash acquisition of another trash service company. Like we said, that is their growth strategy, is acquiring other companies out there. Total assets grew in each of the last 4 quarters, and total assets grew 6% over the last 4 quarters. So we are seeing some growth of assets, but again, you're not going to see any kind of crazy growth out of a trash service company like Waste Management. Total liabilities have been steady over the last 4 years as well. Total liabilities grew 4.6% over the last 4 quarters compared to 6% growth in total assets. So over the last 4 quarters, the growth of assets has outpaced the growth of liabilities. Current assets, however, do not have coverage of current liabilities. It's 0.74 to 1 in the most recent quarter, and that is not something I like to see as an investor. That means that their current cash and assets that are readily convertible to cash do not have coverage of their debts owed in the next 12 months. And so, I always like to see a company that has at least coverage of their current liabilities, and that is not the case here with Waste Management. And total assets have slim coverage of total liabilities at a ratio of 1.38 to 1. And typically I like to see 1.5 to 1 or higher, so that's a little bit short for me. Again, this company does have a good amount of debt. So while the debt has not grown much, the company does have a sizable debt load, and it's something you're going to want to pay attention to as an investor, especially knowing that the growth model for this company is acquisition based, and that's going to involve taking on more debt. Now here's the more attractive side of the financial documents here. Total revenue was flat from 2014 to 2015, but increased each year thereafter. And total revenue increased 5% from 2015 to 2016, and 6.4% from 2016 to 2017. And gross profit increased every year since 2015 as well. 8.3% increase from 2015 to 2016, and 6.7% increase from 2016 to 2017. And then the best part of this for me is the cash flow from operations has increased every year since 2014 at an average rate of 11.1% per year. So they're generating more cash from this business. Definitely a positive here for investors, seeing the growth of revenue, the growth of the gross profit, and the cash flow from operations. So here we have the financial ratios here for Waste Management. Back in 2014, their current assets were about equal to their current liabilities, and that has declined every year since then. The quick ratio as well has declined, and the cash ratio fell off a cliff because they burned through a lot of their cash. But as you can see here, gross margin has increased from 2015 to 2016, and it stayed steady in 2017. We've seen operating margin increase from 16 to 18% over the last 3 years. Pre-tax margin went from 8% to 15%, almost doubled. Profit margin more than doubled from 6% in 2015 to 13% in 2017, definitely a plus there. Pre-tax and after-tax ROE increased as well. And then we have the share performance here over the last year and over the last 5 years. Waste Management stock is up 11.4% over the last year compared to a 13.4% return from the S&P 500. So they have slightly underperformed the market, but do keep in mind they pay that 2.3% dividend. So once you factor that in, they actually beat the market slightly. And over the last 5 years, Waste Management stock is up 102.7% compared to a 71.8% return from the S&P 500. So they significantly outperformed the overall market in the last 5 years. So Waste Management has outperformed the market while paying a great dividend, and with a beta of 0.68, this is a low volatility stock and a stock I'm very comfortable recommending to a beginner. And so if you're looking for a good starter stock here, you really can't go wrong with Waste Management. It is a company that has a great operating history. They're very consistent, and the share price has reflected that as well. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.